What's up, guys? My name is Zach Golden. I am a filmmaker and the head of Golden Guy Pictures. And one of the things I really like doing is watching Star Wars fan films so much that I decided to have my own little YouTube series where I essentially dive in and break down Star Wars fan films. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about the high points, the low points, what makes them great, what makes them not so great. And I'll be looking at them through the lenses of 10 different aspects of film production. So we'll be looking at cinematography, directing, acting, editing, visual effects, soundtrack, makeup and costuming, sound design, location and set design, and then what I call the Star Wars factor, which is essentially how Star Wars is your product or production. And so we'll put a number between 1 and 5, 1 being the least, 5 being the best. We'll apply those numbers to all 10 of those categories. We'll add them up, get a percentage, and that will determine what I call the rotten Melu run score. See what I did there? So today we'll actually be watching 2 fan films. I'm calling them, for the sake of organization, we're calling them the NTW16 duality. Yes, because we're watching. It's a 2-parter. We have this one's called Rise of the Hunter, and the sequel to it is called the Jaeger Order. And so we'll be sitting down watching these fan films. Most of these fan films I've seen. I don't know if I've seen Rise of the Hunter. So they're not as much reaction videos as much as they are observing and review. So without further ado, oh, and by the way, today it's been a bit of a rough day. My church had a softball game and we kind of bombed. And something you need to know about me, I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. I got very upset today. So in my depressive state, I'm hoping that these films will lift my spirits in some way. So, God, I'm depressed. All right, let's watch these films. All right. This feels very Legends. So I guess Vader is off doing other things.
Get out of our town.
I don't think so.
Nice. Yeah, so there's 2 versions of this fan film. One is the original, and this one was
His last victim.
remastered.
Now it's my turn.
Nice.
So, man,
What do you need?
you know what this is?
Yes, it's a Jedi lightsaber.
Found it on my floor in my shop.
Thank you.
Sponsored by
I did the-
Adidas.
Hey, can you spare some toys? Please spare some. I can't buy my rations without it.
Look, I have this one coin. I have business to attend to.
Thank you so much. May I ask what kind of business?
I have an important message for Dr. Jaeger.
Oh, you're a bounty hunter?
Not for this one.
Come with me.
Come,
Okay.
come.
Please don't hurt me.
Oh, wow.
Sword straight. And slash and snap. Tap. Good.
I'm
Again.
guessing the hobo actually was a Jedi.
Good. Again. I think you're ready.
Where do I find him?
I think you
Jaeger
too.
has most likely fled to his hideout on Yavin.
Is that the Ultra Saber blade on the table?
Jaeger. There's nowhere else to run.
Merrick Fett, son of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett is dead, and you will soon share his fate. I don't think so.
You know, he kind of looks like he would be Boba Fett's kid.
Can't use your military as a man. Don't worry. I promise.
That is a Cortosis blade. Ooh. So was this guy a Jedi before? Is that why he has a purple lightsaber? Or am I colorblind? Be careful not to choke on your aspirations. Ooh, that's a Fett move right there. Maybe you should have sent Vader.
This is where you die, Sith.
Oh! Did not expect that.
Stupid boy.
Whoa. All right, let's dive into episode 2. Just go straight into that. See what that's like. So this one is about 12 minutes long. No title card this time.
I failed him. I underestimated the power of Jaeger. I failed Merrick. I will avenge his death.
Oh, that's the hobo.
Please spare some coins. I can't buy my rations without them.
Oh, there it is. Man, this is my jam. I wonder what program they put this together on. Darth Jaeger. Boy. Man. Where can I find this on iTunes?
Identify yourself.
Tell me where your master is.
The Jedi's mind tricks won't work on me. Surrender.
Ooh.
You'll have to kill me.
I'm into Italian. My drinks will do it come me. Visual effects is improved. Nice. Gotta have that.
What is the update concerning the Jedi Order?
Power of the Jedi has been killed. Set one.
And where is this one?
He was last spotted in the Asian area. His guards were killed, sir.
He's too far away. They'll never find this base.
Yes, sir. We have sent guards to find him.
Unless he sees a bunch of bright
The
lights,
Jedi
in which
must be
case
wiped out completely.
they're
in order to
screwed.
bring balance to the Force.
I've sent 100 guards to hunt him down.
Very well. Good luck.
Nice.
I don't even know where I am.
He doesn't even know where he is, guys.
You should have stayed home.
Who are you?
They look like they
Why do you
play
care?
airsoft.
I'm just an old Jedi.
I'm the most skilled of my kind. What are you?
You're nobody. You're gonna die.
Oh,
Who do you work for?
Whatever pays the best. Right now, that's a Jaeger order.
Ah, I see. A bounty hunter.
Zachary, your life is next.
You will try.
I got that reference. Nice, he's got a jetpack. Now he has a red one.
Lightsaber. But how?
Jedi's and Siths aren't the only one with lightsabers.
I guess
Access
Jedi
to
and Sith aren't the
lightsabers
only
doesn't
ones with
make us
lightsabers.
You'll see soon enough.
should know when to stand down.
Your bounty hunting days are over.
Take his lightsaber. Wonder where he got it. Maybe Darth What's-His-Face gave him his lightsaber. I wonder where they live. It looks very pretty. Nothing like a nice pile of grass to take a good nap.
No. No. No.
No.
Who are you? The one you're looking for. The one that killed Merrick Fett. Darth Jaeger.
What?
It can't be. It happened right over there. See for yourself.
I was using psychometry.
No. No. I must stop the Jaeger order. You dare think an old retired Jedi can defeat me and Sidious? Don't make me do this, Jaeger.
Is that a blue or a purple lightsaber? Oh dear. Ooh! It was a vision.
That bounty hunter was the least of my worries. I can't let the Jaeger order win. I have to destroy Jaeger and Sidious.
Sir, if you have come to tell me that you have failed me, don't bother. It's time for the final solution.
Yes, sir. We were destroying them.
Those gloves that he's wearing, you see the same pair of gloves worn by multiple characters in
I've been expecting you.
The Mandalorian, so they're Star Wars approved.
It's over, Jaeger. It's time for your reign to end.
I have the high. Oh wait.
You're no match for the dark side. I will do what I must.
Again? You know, the convenient thing about shooting lightsaber duels at night is you barely need any VFX because the camera reads the lightsaber blade a certain way to where it almost looks like an actual lightsaber, as you can see. And it looks legit. I buy it. They've got nice little combos. Oh yeah. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
You were a fool to come here, Jaeger.
And you were a fool to think the dark side never learned.
They got nice little combos. Ooh. I want to know if, I want to know how Jara survived Order 66.
You're finished, Sith. Oh, I don't think so.
Oh dear. Nice. Way to roll with the punches.
Finish him.
Drops his lightsaber. Oh no, not again. Obi-Wan's gonna kill me. Oh, something bit me.
This is the end for you, Jedi.
It's Pikachu. Wonder if that was Merrick. Merrick Fett. He's still alive. All right. Let's break this down, why don't we? So, I'm not gonna lie, that very well cured my depression. I'm in a much better mood. You know, sitting down watching fan films is great, but you don't come across very many fan films where you just walk away just feeling like happy, you know? And I feel this way watching these fan films. So why don't we go through these categories? Cinematography. So, for for those who are watching, I hope you are watching. I hope you weren't just looking at me as as beautiful as I am, but obviously this fan film wasn't very strong in terms of the kind of camera they're using. It wasn't very high on the budget end, so they had to work with what they had. So that said, cinematography wasn't on point. There weren't a whole lot of shots that really stood out to me, but you could tell that they were really aiming for the foundational shot reverse shot type of camera work. If the guy's holding the lightsaber, he's about to turn it on, what do? They point the camera right at the hand holding the lightsaber. They give it to you straight, real cut and dry. Like, here's how it is, here's the story. No complications, no bull crap. Like, they take you straight in. So there's a lot of respect that I have for that. Beyond that, their camera work wasn't on par with other things that we've seen in the past. So that said, I'm going to give their cinematography a 1.5. Let's talk about directing. So I have to commend the director because there is a very clear vibe in these fan films. There's a certain nuance to the with the music that they're using, with the camera work, you can tell that whoever was, given the title of director had a vision. You can see it clear as day, and so I love it when you can recognize those tropes within a director. So I'm gonna give directing a 3 out of 5. Okay, so acting. I don't know this person. I don't know their story. These are the only two stuff of their work that I've seen, but I feel like I can relate a whole lot to this guy. NTW16. I wonder if that's Nathan in the credits. Let's just say it's Nathan. Hopefully it is Nathan. If you're not Nathan, I'm sorry, Nathan. So almost feel like I can relate to Nathan because when I first started out as a filmmaker, that's what my work looks like. You go into my channel, you look for the home film playlist, and you'll see firsthand that my films looked, similar to this. But I would argue that this guy was better than I was when I first started out. So this guy's ahead in my book. But that said, acting is obviously something that's going to be very difficult to come by when you're first starting out. When you're in the early stages of making films, you're not going to find these fantastic actors. Those are networks that you establish over time. So the acting was not the best. It leaves something to be desired, but you can't mistake the effort that they put in. Like this film had amazing effort, and that is something very tough to come by when you're making films, because oftentimes when you're working with friends or you're working with people from school who aren't necessarily big on making movies, but they're like, hey, I'll be in this guy's film. You're going to find people who aren't going to put in as much effort as you, the director, would. So the fact that you can see the effort in these people is something that I respect a whole lot. So I'm gonna give acting a 1 out of 5. Let's talk about editing, because I think editing kind of goes hand in hand with the directing. If I had to guess, I would say that Nathan directed, held the camera, and edited the thing. I think he did all three of those things because like I said, I can see the texture of the film. I can sense that this film had vision, and I can see it in the editing because it's very paced. There's a pace to all the cuts that he's making. They're very strategic, very well planned out. So like directing, I'm going to give editing a 3 out of 5. And another thing that I want to add is, and I said this in the first episode of Fan Film Reviews, good editing means you don't notice it. If you don't notice it, it means it's good editing. And there weren't a whole lot of moments in these two films where his editing jarred me. It flowed very nicely. There was continuity. I think his editing was about as on par as his directing. So visual effects, I gotta say, as far as the lightsabers are concerned, they got creative. Because again, when you first start out, you're not going to have all the resources that all these, higher end film producers are going to have. So you got to work with what you got. And like I said before, they shot all their lightsaber scenes at night because I guarantee they didn't have it in the budget to put these super expensive and realistic looking lightsaber effects. So they shoot it at night because the lightsabers glow and you can see the light reflecting off the actor. You can see the way the frame rate and the ISO is in the camera, that it portrays the lightsaber almost as if it's the real deal. So I bought it. It looks legit. So they worked with what they had, and then you have the blasters and the lasers bouncing off the lightsabers. So there's a lot that I commend. But that said, visual effects was a bit on the weak side. So I'm going to give visual effects a 1 out of 5. Now soundtrack, I was trying to dig through the library in my head, and I couldn't pinpoint where I've heard this soundtrack before. Maybe it'll say in the credits. Revenge back in. Legendary Creative Commons. Okay, so it looks like they they pulled the music from an artist. It looks like this guy, Kevin MacLeod. It looks like he has his own licensing. Let's see, what is his website? Okay. Okay, so it's a royalty free soundtrack. As long as you give the guy credit in your videos, it looks like he's okay with people using his work. So okay, well, cool. And I think that was a good call on Nathan's part because one thing that just doesn't look good on your videos is when you have a copyright claim. I've seen in the past that fan films will use some of John Williams' work, which, that's cool. That's the best that you're gonna get, but you're gonna get that copyright claim, and it's just not gonna top your film off very well because it's not that people are gonna think you're trying to steal their work. It's just gonna be like, really, like, if if by any chance your fan film was a bit on the weaker end, that music is just gonna make your film look even weaker. So, good job, Nathan, for jumping the head of the gun and getting creative with the music. So now as far as the tone and the placement of the music is concerned, that is a bit on the weaker end compared to how they acquired it. There were moments where I wasn't sure what to feel because of what the music was doing. There were suspenseful moments where Merrick Fett is walking around looking for the Sith Lord, and the music is a little too loud, a little too, actiony. And I kind of wanted to feel that suspense, and I couldn't quite get there as much as I was trying to. So music placement was a bit off. But I do think they were smart with how they acquired the soundtrack. So I'm gonna give them a 2 out of 5. Makeup and costuming. So I didn't see a whole lot of makeup, but the costuming looked very directed. Like I said before, it looks like they play airsoft because I play airsoft myself. I recognize a lot of the stuff that they're wearing, like the khaki pants, the gloves, the vests, which is honestly the way to go when you're on when your budget is a bit on the lower end. But the gloves are approved. Those gloves he was wearing is Star Wars approved clothing. So good job for them for having something like that on hand. No pun intended. And other than that, there were a few moments where I was like, "Ooh, that's like he puts the magazine in his blaster, or he's got like that Uzi hanging from his back." So there's a few things in there that make me, that kind of pulls me out of the story because it's not something from Star Wars or something that looks like Star Wars. I know some people will take Nerf guns and completely like recustomize them, like paint them over, super glue parts to it so that it looks futuristic and they look legit. So there's ways of working around that, and I didn't see that in their costuming. So I'm going to give their costuming 1 out of 5. Sound design. I think what was great was that these people win the award for working with what they had, because they pulled cheap sound effects online wherever they got it, and they used them appropriately. They were right on point. Like there was not a moment where it was off and then you heard it. So there was a lot of meticulous care put into the soundscape. So great job with that. I'm gonna give their sound design 3 out of 5 because that Wilhelm scream is not something you hear very often in fan films. So good job for including that in both of your fan films, Nathan. So that automatically gives you some major pointage. Location and set design. I didn't see any built sets. Maybe the fireplace, the fire pit was some set design, and if so, good job because it looked like a campfire because it was. And that's the best way to go. If you're gonna build something, like build the real thing. Why don't you? And other than that, it looked like everything was kind of as is. They show up to their location, they shoot, bada bing, bada boom, you got your fan film. Um, so that said, there were a few moments where I was kind of pulled out of the story because I could tell what those locations were. You know, you could see the football field post in the background, or the cars driving by, or the house in the background with the earth door, you know, doorknob and everything. So there's a few moments where it kind of pulled me out of the story, and I had to re-enter it to understand. And so, you know, location, set design, bit on the weaker end, but I'm going to give it a 1.5 because their campfire was a campfire, and that's set design. I mean, anytime you treat a location, I would say that's set design. So good job for that. And I want to talk about the Star Wars factor. And oftentimes when I'm talking about the Star Wars factor, that's going to encompass writing, because that's part of writing a Star Wars project, is it has to be something Star Warsy. So that said, I liked the ideas. It felt very Legends. That said, there were a couple of things that made me question and kind of threw me off because I wasn't sure where the story is being taken. You know, where's Darth Vader? Why isn't he mentioned at all? You know, maybe this is a completely separate, you know, universe within Star Wars. Like maybe it's the multiverse, and this is like a different part of the universe where Vader isn't really a thing, and instead it's Darth Jaeger. And if so, cool. Let's make that a major story point in the third film if there's going to be one. You know, I liked the idea of Boba Fett having a son. The actor looked legit. I mean, he looked like he could be Boba Fett's kid. So there's some cool things happening in the story. I like the idea of a hobo Jedi because that's the last, you know, person you would look at, you know, being a Jedi is someone on the streets begging for money. You know, so it's a cool idea, cool concept. I liked it. You know, I like it. And I want to get to know Darth Jaeger more. I want to know what his deal is. You know, what's his story? Why does he have a purple lightsaber in the first film, but then he has a red one in the second one? You know, maybe there's a time jump and we can get some flashback action going in the third one. You know, I'm curious, and I want to know who the guy in the mask was at the end of this episode. I think that was Merrick Fett. And if it is, then cool. We need to see some explanation as to how he survives a lightsaber stab to the chest. So there's some cool things going on. It's definitely Star Wars, especially when you bring back characters that you were so certain was dead. That's very Star Wars. You know, and it's the classic little guy going up against the Empire. You know, that's everything that Star Wars is. You know, this Jedi is all by himself, as it seems. You know, someone comes along, he helps him. They try to work together, trying to take down the Empire, and it's a struggle, and there's sacrifice involved, and that's everything that Star Wars is. So writing, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 because the writer knew what he was doing, and I have a feeling that Nathan was also the writer of this film. I feel like he was kind of a one-man army where he basically just did everything in the background and then left all the acting to the actors, which is something I respect a lot. When you can take all the weight off of everybody else and say, look, I just need you to focus on acting. And it's very rare when people are able to do that. So if this was you, good job. You made some good calls. You made some bad calls, but who doesn't? I make bad calls all the time. That's why people don't give me their number. I'm kidding. So, all right. Well, in that case, let's figure out what these films are rated on the Rotten Melu Run score. So I'm actually going to, instead of giving each film their own score, I'm going to add up all the numbers from both films and slap them together and give you the rating of the NTW16 Duality. And hopefully, third one comes out, we can rank that one too, and we'll probably rank it on its own. So let's give me a moment to math, because math is not my strong point. So bear with me. All right, folks, so we're going to give Rise of the Hunter and Jaeger Order, otherwise known as the NTW16 Duality, we're going to give them a Rotten Melu Run score of 41%. They have great ideas, great writing, great directing and editing, sound design, and it's a Star Wars story. It's all about the little guy, and so for that reason they got some strong points. Weak points, I would say, is acting, visual effects, makeup and costuming. Those are things that could be better, but honestly, a lot of it has to do with budget. You know, when you just don't have those resources, you got to work with what you have. So, mad respect for these guys for taking what they did have and saying, let's work with it. And you don't see that often with higher end productions. With them, it's more like, what can we buy? We have all this money. What can we buy? And they do not. And it's funny because you'll see that, but then you won't see a whole lot of creativity. With these guys, they don't have those resources, and so it forces them to get into that creative box and and bust out of it and say, what can we do different that hasn't been done before? And they hit the marks, and it cured me of my depression. I was super sad tonight, and I watched these films, and now I am cured of my depressive state. So good job, Nathan. You've cured my depression. If you're depressed, watch these films, and you will be not depressed. Okay, folks. That's all I have for you tonight. I have no pedestal, by the way. I do not work for IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that. I'm just a Star Wars fan who likes watching fan films and talking about them. So if you have a fan film that you would like me to review or talk about, let me know in the comments, and we'll dive in, break them down, and have some fun. Other than that, may the Force be with you, always.